Good morning, everybody. We are live from my craft room in Texas, and we're just waiting for people to jump on and hope everybody can join us this morning. It is a snowy day in Iowa, and so Memory Bound is closed. So what better day than spend time in our craft room? So hope everyone can join us. We're just going to give everybody a little bit of chance to jump on. I'm Janet, and I lived in Iowa for all of my life, basically, and we just recently moved to Texas, and I have been busy setting up a new craft room, and I'm super excited to share it with everybody today. So how's everybody doing today? Is everybody hunkered down for the upcoming snow? I have to tell you, I'm enjoying the weather here in Texas. It has been absolutely beautiful. I have my husband Jay behind the camera today. And Jay, would you like to show the Texas forecast for the coming 5 days? You see a lot of sunshine there, but it is going to be pretty cold over the weekend. But so far we are not complaining. I have been wearing my sandals, and yesterday it was 66 degrees. So absolutely no complaints here. So again, I'm Janet, and I work for Memory Bound in Ankeny, Iowa, and we're here in Texas, where I just recently moved. I am the person who does all the linking and drinking in the morning, so that's how you might know me, but I've also taught classes for many years at the store, and am delighted to be here. So I have my husband Jay behind the camera, and I think we'll just go ahead and get started. We are expecting Kelly to join us shortly, and with a few announcements about things that are going on at the store over the weekend. Notably, our store is closed today because of the inclement weather. We don't want our customers or our staff to go out and risk driving on the slick roads. So everybody stay home, and this is a great day to start crafting for 2024. And if you are doing what we are doing, crafting more in 2024, this is a perfect day to get started. So Jay, how many people do we have joining us?
160.
Excellent. So let's go ahead and get started. So let me just give you a quick introduction of the space before we take a more detailed tour. I'm going to talk about how the space is organized and the furniture that I brought with me from Iowa, and what I purchased new when we moved to Texas. So this space is at the top of the stairs. Our house is at 1.5 story, and there is an open area at the top of the stairs, which apparently they call the Texas basement. Those of you from Texas probably know that. And Jay, don't back up too far and fall down the stairs. But this space is open, and it does not actually have a door. So it's not really a closed room like I had previously in Iowa. It's more of a space. So I figured it would be a great space for a craft room, and it has definitely proven to be that. So one of the things that first attracted me to the space is it has a built-in desk area, which is perfect because I do, of course, as you know, all the linking in the morning videos, and then I also do the blog for the store and a lot of other writing of instructions and whatnot. So having the desk built in was a super positive thing for me. That meant that I didn't have to bring my desk from home. So that was a plus for sure. It also has this kind of long wall, which is a lower wall, which opens up to the first floor, which is where our kitchen and living room and all of that stuff is. And I thought, well, gosh, I could use all of this space for tables and storage and whatnot, and that has proven to be really a good setup for me. So in terms of things that I brought from home, I wanted to use as much of my existing furniture as I could from my craft room, basically, so it would feel like me. I think when you go to a new place and everything is brand new, it's nice to have some familiarity. So I brought along some things that were in my existing craft room. This little table is a nice place for a little bit of extra lighting. This bin is something that my grandma bought for me many, many years ago. I think when I was in junior high, and it's got some old projects in it. I've always kept my old some of my favorite craft projects in it. And when we were getting ready to move, I found this needlepoint pillow, and I don't even know if you know this, Jay, but this I made in high school. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to just bring it up here because rare is the needlepoint piece that I've actually completed. I usually start them and don't finish them. So then over here, this table is just a small glass top table that I had in Iowa, and I've used it for my die cutting machine right now. I have my my switch on this table, and I have plenty of room to clear it off and do die cutting here when I need to. Smaller tools like my little Sizzix, got my stamping blocks and whatnot. And then down here, in Texas, we don't have basements. And so these are just boxes of memorabilia that will eventually end up in my scrapbooks. This is current memorabilia for my family scrapbooks, and this is heritage memorabilia, which by memorabilia I simply mean brochures or postcards or birth certificates, that kind of thing, that will eventually be incorporated into my either family or heritage scrapbooks. So we don't have a garage or basement, to put this stuff in. So it's just right here under the table, and eventually, as I finish those scrapbooks, these pieces will go away. So I'm going to quickly go through this other part of the room, and then we'll come back and do more detail. This is an IKEA cube unit, which is 4 across and 2 tall. And I have a variety of different things stored in this, and I will come back and show you in just a little bit what all I have stored here. But I really like the low aspect of this because it gives me a place to set stuff and display things. And initially my plan was to put one here, and a third one here. So I would have them all lined up across this wall, and I might still do that. But right now this is enough storage for me. So again, we're going to come back to that. All of the artwork and pillows and lamps and that kind of setty stuff, all of that was in my craft room in Iowa. And I wanted to bring that along again so it would feel like me and it would feel familiar to me. So I still liked everything, and I thought, I'm just going to use what I have because it suits me, and there's no sense in spending that kind of money if I don't need to. So this table here is a table that I purchased from Walmart many moons ago, and it is about 36 inches square. If I could change anything about this craft room, I would say
We're here.
I need more space in the craft room for laying out projects and whatnot. But I do love this table, and it is counter height or bar height, I can't remember which, but I'm a stand-up crafter, so I like the height of this table. I'm going to take a pause now because we have first-time caller joining us, and we're going to see how this goes. We have Kelly joining us right now.
I sent a request to join, but I didn't get joined, but I'm here on the phone, Janet.
Great, Kelly. Give us a thumbs up if you can hear Kelly okay.
If you,
Can everybody hear Kelly okay? She's in Jay's pocket. Tell us if you can hear Kelly or not.
I'm in Jay's pocket.
Yeah. And we've got her right next to the microphone. Let us know by way of a thumbs up or a heart if you can hear Kelly. Kelly, can you say something?
Oh, yes, that would help. Okay. Good morning, everybody. I was trying to join. I sent a request, but I don't think it went through or something. I don't know.
We did not get it, Kelly.
Okay. All right.
Well,
Janet, I'm so happy you're here. We are very excited and so lucky to have you. And you're lucky to be in Texas right now.
I guess we got out just in time, right?
I think so. I think so.
Although I have to say, I love this.
Sorry to interrupt, but I wanted just to let you guys know that we did decide to close Memory Bound today. We're having a blizzard. And if you're in the Midwest, you might be having a blizzard too. If you're somewhere else and you're having a blizzard, I hope you're sitting at Dairy Queen. Because that sounds really good, actually.
I get that, Kelly. That was a very clever pun.
Well, thank you. So I don't know about tomorrow for the store. We're going to have to see how the weather goes. And I don't know about Sunday. Our online store, our blog, you can do a lot of things virtually. We've got Janet here coming from Texas. So we're kind of there, but we're not there to answer your phone calls or pack your boxes. But we will be back soon. And then, Janet, we also need to say happy birthday to Sheila. Plus 1 day.
Great.
Happy birthday plus 1 day.
Happy birthday, Sheila. Hope it was a great day.
Sheila, we met Sheila during the pandemic, and she had, I don't know, Sheila, if you're watching, I can't remember if you fell down some stairs, but she watched us every day. She sent us pizza when we were, during those bad times, and yesterday was her birthday. So,
hope it was a great day, Sheila. Glad to have you with us.
Absolutely. Okay, the other big thing, Janet, is tomorrow Tim is announcing his distress color.
Yay!
And it's the last distress color, and we're all hoping he's going to do something else with inks. Our order is on a trailer in Illinois, and with this weather, it might not be here till Tuesday. We really don't know, but it is packed in boxes and on its way to Memory Bound.
Well, very good. Very good. You just
Janet,
never know.
Too bad it's not in Texas, right, Janet? We wouldn't worry too much.
That's right. Yeah. Although on Sunday, Kelly, they're saying we're supposed to get some slick weather or slick roads. So you never know how things are going to go here.
In Texas?
Yes. Yes. So.
Oh my gosh. You moved south for nothing.
Yeah, well, it's been super nice. And
All right, but anyway, as far as the Tim Holtz Distress goes, that will be available for you to order this afternoon. So if you want to pre-order it, we don't know the color. I have no idea what the color is. A lot of you are making guesses on our post, so you can win that Distress ink pad and re-inker. But they will be available for you to order if you want to pre-order them this afternoon. And so that's that. And then, Janet, one more thing. There's a lot of questions about 49 and Market.
Yes.
And you know how popular that is.
Everybody loves it.
So we have ordered all the new 49 and Market. There's 2 collections. Wherever is kind of a travel, and Swatch is a beautiful teal. And those are supposed to ship to us on Monday. So maybe by Friday we might have them, but we will for sure keep you posted. Some of it is online and you can see it on our website. It is not sold out because it says 0. That just means it hasn't arrived yet, but Diane has been entering the product into our site so you can at least see what's coming.
Excellent. Perfect.
Okay, and then one more thing.
Yes.
Janet introduced herself, and many of you know Janet, and you know how amazing she is.
Oh, Kelly.
Janet has been with Memory Bound since before the beginning.
Before the beginning.
Janet, I was so nervous when you moved to Texas. I'm like, oh, we're going to lose Janet. But Janet's working long distance, and she's still a big part of Memory Bound. And she told you all the things she does for us, which is a lot.
I'm still
and
here.
A shout out to Jay for helping out with our video today. Even if I'm sitting in his pocket or whatever.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Janet, I would say on with the show, and thank you so much. This was great timing for a snowy day in Iowa to broadcast from Texas.
Absolutely. I think it's a fun day to talk about storage and how to get organized, and I'll show you lots and lots of ideas as we go. And if you have any questions at all, Jay and Kelly are both monitoring the comments, so they will let me know if there are any questions or something you need me to go back over and give more details. So Kelly
I will try to link, Janet, but I'm not a pro.
Well, that's okay, Kelly.
Okay.
And we're going to keep Kelly in Jay's pocket for the whole time here. So we'll see how that goes. So
Okay.
let me jump back into talking about my table. Okay. This is a table that I think I started to tell you folks that I bought this table online at Walmart several years ago, and I had it in my craft room in Iowa. It is about 36 inches square, and I don't know if Jay, if you could come a little bit closer to it, but one thing that I did many years ago is I had a piece of glass cut for the top of my table. Can you see how that is glass? And we just went through a company that makes shower doors and that kind of thing, and they will cut a piece of glass to whatever specifications you need. And so it just fits directly on my table, and it gives you a nice clean surface to work on. I've had this for several years like this, and I love it. So every once in a while I just wipe it off with Windex and that kind of thing, and it's good to go. So again, this table is about 36 inches square. If I could change anything about this craft room, I would have it probably twice as big as it actually is. But for now, I think this is a good size, and I really wouldn't want to take up any more space in the room with this table. But I do really like the height of it. It's, would you say it's a bar height, Jay, or counter height?
Counter.
It's counter height. So it hits me right about the hips. And so since I'm a stand-up crafter, not a sit-down crafter, this is perfect. I can just stand here and work and not have to worry about it. I do have a tall stool if I need to sit down. So here, Jay, if you want to scooch over here. I don't know what these things are called. You guys will have to tell me if you know. But they're three-wheel carts. I think I bought this one at World Market. And I just keep in this some of my most used tools, like my adhesive and some of my little tools for card making and scrapbooking. And I've got some punches and whatnot on the bottom. So I like that I can just slide it underneath here when I don't need it. So over here in the corner, I think I started to tell you folks about this. I had this picture in my walk-in closet in my craft room, and I love the picture, wanted to bring it along, and I don't have a walk-in closet in this room, so that was really one of the challenges. Where in the world would I put all that stuff that I had packed into that closet? And Kelly, you know, I had a lot more in that closet than I thought. And then I had this chair also in my craft room in Iowa, and I was really eager to see if I could fit it in here too, because, you know, every once in a while it's nice to just be able to sit down and look at an idea book or a magazine or something like that. So I have those things, and I have to tell you, this little owl and this little bear were made by my daughter. This owl, I think, was one of her very first projects. And then this bear, I think he's just adorable. So she made both of those, so they're very, very special to me. So I'm just going to mention this, and I'm going to come back to this a little bit later. This is another one of the Calyx units from IKEA. It is 5 cubes across and 5 cubes down. So I guess if you do the math, that's 25 cubes. So a lot of storage space in this, and I have never had a Calyx unit before now, and I want to tell you about how I'm using the space, and I absolutely love it so far. So we'll come back and we'll talk about this in more detail. And Jay, do you want to follow me over here? Everybody, we are tethered together with these very long microphones or very long cords, so hopefully we don't get tangled up. These two racks, again, I brought with me from Iowa, and they are the heavy-duty baker's racks that you can purchase at like Home Depot or Lowe's. And I think each shelf will hold something like 300 pounds or something like that. So I have one shelf full of my chronological albums, and you can see I'm just about ready to run out of room. And over here is primarily
amazing. Oh my gosh.
Well, thank you, Kelly. This is, You know, I am not caught up on my scrapbooking. I have a lot more to do, but I think I'm going to have to get another shelf to do it. And then, Jay, if you want to come around to this side, this is primarily, from here on down, is primarily my genealogy stuff and my heritage albums. So these are the heritage albums I've done so far. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is my family. And then I have two. One that's completely done for my husband's family, and then one that is nearly done, a second one that's nearly done for my husband's family, and with 2 more to go for that family. So pretty much all of this, most of it is genealogy and heritage stuff. So if you get into that, you do need to have ample storage, I will say, because I'm the keeper of all that stuff. So these shelves, we set up basically like they were in my Iowa craft room. And up here I've got some boxes of photos that are organized in chronological order. These smaller boxes I've had for years, and I just kept them because they fit nicely on this shelf. So, and again, as I do my scrapbooking, those will be displaced and those will go away, and I can fill the albums with a lot more, or fill the shelves with a lot more albums. So continuing on around the room, there is a bathroom here. And then my husband's drum room is behind these doors. And we're not going to open the door to that because that's not quite set up yet. But I do want to point out this piece. When I was setting up the craft room, I realized that I didn't have a good place for my tools. And my tools, such as like my Big Shot and my Silhouette and those bigger tools, will not fit in the IKEA cube system because the cubes are only about 13 inches wide. And so I needed some type of a storage unit with more space in it. So in shopping at IKEA, which you guys is dangerously close to our house, I found this piece, which is, I think it's like a media cabinet or something that goes below a TV. And it has shelving that goes all the way through. So there's no separator between, oops, I can't keep that one open, between those two sides. So it's completely open. So Jay, can everybody see under here? I've got plenty of room for my Silhouette. And this is a laminator that I use for various crafting things. And my Cinch and my Big Shot, all of that fits in here really nicely. And what's great is it has 2 drawers at the top. So if we could come over here, Jay, so everybody can see. I've got like all my Cinch accessories, my vinyl and that kind of thing in this drawer. And over here, there's room for all my old trimmers and my cords that go with my Silhouette and whatnot. So the storage drawers are great because I can keep everything that goes with those particular tools right alongside them. Kelly, let me stop and ask if there are any questions. Do we still have Kelly? I think maybe we lost Kelly.
Well, Janet, I think there's lots of good comments and people are loving your room. Looks like IKEA is your friend when you're getting organized,
You know,
for sure.
that's true.
And a lot of people say, I need that, I need that.
What I can do is I will do a blog post after today's video and I will put a link to this unit. It's got a Swedish name that I can't pronounce and can't remember. And then I'll put a link to the Calyx units as well. And I want to talk to you more about how I'm using those. So yes, if you've got access to an IKEA, for sure, it's worth a trip to go. So I want to talk a little bit more about the Calyx units because a lot of people struggle with how to store their craft supplies, and a Calyx is a great solution. In case you're wondering about the name Calyx, one thing I learned at IKEA when I went there with my daughter is that Kalix is the name of a village in Sweden. And IKEA is a Swedish company, and they name a lot of their products after different places in Sweden, which I think is kind of cool. So Kalix is the name that they've given to this cube system. And Jay, let's start over here with the smaller one. When you purchase the cube system, you purchase the different components, and you will have to assemble it. And I did a blog post in which you can see kind of how that assembly process works. Very good instructions, easy to assemble, but you will want to have some help because the different pieces are a little bit heavy, but they go together very easily. And I find that the furniture is very sturdy, certainly sturdy enough for what I'm using it for. Now, I want to show you, when you purchase the unit, you're just going to get the cubes themselves, and they measure about 13 inches across, 12 inches tall, or 13 inches tall, and about 14 inches deep. So they will hold a scrapbook album that we use. And that, I think, is what makes them attractive to crafters, because they hold the kinds of stuff that we need to store. So with the cubes, you can leave them open like I've done with these two here. And I've just got books stored here, rainbow color order, as you can see. And then you can also get baskets of various types. And these just slip in. So there are several different options for baskets. And if you like the idea of storing your things in baskets, there are tons of ideas. I happen to like the natural kind of woven look of these. But one thing I will say, honestly, is I kind of struggle with what to put in the baskets, because I don't like to just throw things down in the baskets. So this one has my pre-made cards. Like if I ever need to send a store-bought card or something like that, I have a small collection of store-bought cards and stationery and that kind of stuff. But I do have them in a smaller container that fits down in here, because I don't like to have things just pell-mell in the basket. I like to have it somewhat organized. So that's what I have in the top basket. And this basket, this is going to be kind of shocking and probably should be a little embarrassing, but I actually love this. I keep all of my calendars from years past. And you guys, this is a calendar from, it's like the 1980s. So I keep all of these calendars, and you know why?
Be a judge.
Pardon me?
You could be a judge.
Well, I could, but this is great if you are scrapbooking. You can look back on the calendars, and it gives you like a trigger of things, important events in your life that you might want to include in your scrapbooks. So as I've been scrapbooking my own childhood, I have referred to these often, and I keep my current calendars too in here. I don't think I've ever thrown away a calendar, and that's kind of a fun fact, weird fact about me. So this basket is quite heavy. So the other option for your cubes is you can get doors. And these doors do bolt right into the cube itself. So before you install a door, you need to make sure that this is where you want the door, because it's not really easy to move. So I have 3 doors along the bottom. And one of the things I decided to do is put some of my older scrapbooks in here. Because I really like everything in my room to be color coordinated. And these are albums that were different colors that I made when I was first starting scrapbooking. And I wanted to conceal them behind the doors. So I know that might seem a little weird, but the other thing is that I am really lacking space on my shelves, and this did give me a nice place to put them. But here you can see these are post-bound albums, and you can see how nicely they fit into the cubes. So there's plenty of room. They have a nice solid surface. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fit in one cube perfectly. Kelly, let me ask, are there any questions about this? Let me know if you have any questions or if you want to see something in more detail. I've got a few.
Okay, I don't see any questions. Everything's kind of delayed, so I'm not making a lot of comments. Marcia would like to know, are the black notebooks on the shelves 3-ring notebooks? I'm wondering if she means your albums from before. Or...
Oh, yes. My black, that's a great question. Over here, Marcia, these black binders are the We Are 3-ring binders that we sell at Memory Bound. And I believe, oh, how appropriate. The first page happens to be about snow. I believe the 3-ring binders are our best-selling album. Everybody loves them. They hold a ton of pages. So yeah, and you can see that I am a huge fan of these albums. So this is one of my family albums. It's a work in progress, but I use the black for all of my family albums. And then I'm using different colors for my heritage albums. So hopefully that answers your question. All right. So we're just going back over here.
Janet,
yes.
We do have another question.
Sure.
We're wondering if you always store your finished albums upright.
I do, yes. And it's as I understand it, Kelly, you'll have to jump in here too. That is the best way to store a completed album, because if you store them horizontally, they start to press down on each other. And if there are any kind of dimensional items such as brads or, lumpy bumpy buttons, then those albums pressing down on each other, the weight can indent the pages. So it's better to keep them vertical. That's my understanding. Great question.
Okay, I would agree. Cheryl's asking Janet the size of the cubes.
Yes, let me grab my ruler here.
I don't know if you have an actual measurement.
I do. And Kelly, you can never have too many rulers, so I have plenty here. So let's see, measuring the inside of the cube, 12 inches across, and I would say it's 12 inches tall, or excuse me, 13 inches, I apologize, 13 inches across and 13 inches tall. And then I think it's a little bit deeper. I would say it's about maybe 14 inches deep. So again, 13 inches across, 13 inches tall, and about 14 inches deep. So it's a little bit deeper than it is wide and tall, which is what makes it so great for scrapbookers, because a lot of what we need to store is 12 inches. So definitely, I think that's what makes the IKEA cube so popular with crafters. Anything else, Kelly?
There's feedback.
No, I think that's good.
All righty. Let's talk about some of the things that are on top of this unit, and then we'll go on. One of the reasons why I like a low surface is it gives you room to put all this kind of stuff. You could put completed pages or completed cards, that kind of thing. Right now, I've got just a few kind of often used things. I love my buttons. And this is a container that belonged to my mom. It's that old enamelware. And I've got some of my favorite buttons. I won't say I use them. I just look at them because they're my favorites. And this Lazy Susan is super handy to have. And I have 2 of them in my craft room, one on my table and one here. And both of them, believe it or not, came out of my dad's garage, and he had his tools on them, and I cleaned them up. They were really a mess, and now I have them in my craft room. So same with this cup. He had this in his garage, and I've got some colored pencils in here. So I like to have things in my craft room that kind of bring me the warm fuzzies and that remind me of people that I love that are no longer with me. This is an older thing that we don't have at Memory Bound these days, but many, many moons ago we carried this, and it works great for the Tim Holtz ink blending tools. And I just keep this filled up, and I have it loaded up with my most commonly used foams. So this is basically an old kind of a tool that they used for holding stamps, I believe. But there was a time when we sold those at Memory Bound, and it's been many, many years ago. Over here, I've got my baker's twine, which I use a lot, and I have it just stored by color. And I also have a jar full of twine and floss that I use quite a bit, and I just have it on little rings. And I keep this out because I don't use a ton of ribbon, but I use a lot of twine and floss. So I just keep this out all the time. And I'll show you in just a little bit where I store the rest of my ribbon. This is a little basket I bought in France when I was on a high school trip. So I've had this forever. It's a little purse, and I keep my washi tape in it. So I really love to, as I said before, keep things in my room that have meaning to me. And so this little purse, I've had it forever. I've always kept it out. And I love just having my washi tape. I don't have a huge amount of washi tape, and it fits just perfectly in here. So I do also like to label things. I don't label everything, but I label a few things. This one has washi tape, and then it has a ball chain, which I also enjoy, and it's hooked to the handle like so. So I think that's about all I'll say about this. Oh, the plant. If you are going to IKEA, the IKEA plants, you guys, are great. They're only like $3, and then you can get these great little tins as well, and they have lots of different varieties. And the plant fits directly in the tin, and you can stick them anywhere. So I think that just adds a nice little pop of color. And I have gone back to IKEA and purchased more, so I have them everywhere, and you don't have to worry about watering them. So that's a good thing. And I'm going to stop there, Kelly, and then we'll continue on. Let me ask if there are any questions about what I've showed so far. Wow, I see we've got a ton of viewers today. That is fabulous, you guys.
Okay. Well, I want to let you know, Janet, that Jody and myself and many others love how you've included your family treasures into your storage in your craft room so that you can enjoy them.
Oh, that's great.
So that is really sweet.
That's really...
And let's see, I don't see any questions. Love the Lazy Susan idea. Even if you don't have a family vintage one, I think you could just get one at the store someplace, and that's pretty handy.
Yeah, here.
And I'm really sorry, somebody has your same exact cat mug. Oh, Connie.
Oh, my
Connie
gosh.
has the same cup.
Oh, my gosh.
Cat cup, so she must be another cat lover,
You know,
too.
I totally forgot to mention this.
And Janet, I just have to say that your room is amazing. We've only seen part of it.
Kelly, thank you so much. I have had a great time putting it together, and I'm not going to lie, it was a ton of work. And I have to thank my husband for putting together the TV unit and hanging up the TV on the wall, which I've never had a TV before, which is pretty exciting. And I have to thank my daughter and her husband for helping me with the shelves and getting all the cubes put together. And Jay put the doors on and the drawers in. So it's been a group effort for sure. But I loved my craft room before, Kelly, and I will be quite honest, I wasn't sure I would love this space as much, but actually I do. I love it in different ways. So it's been fun to put it together and think about the kinds of storage that work for me, and put it together in ways that I think would be more practical. Jay, I'd like to jump back over here because I forgot a couple of things over here. I want to mention what's on the top of this table. We talked about vintage things. I am also a thrifter. I have sort of a weakness for rescuing things from thrift stores and garage sales and the side of the road. And one thing that I think I've mentioned is I particularly love old typewriters. And believe it or not, against everybody's better judgment, I brought 3 old typewriters with us to Texas, and probably didn't need to do that. One of them belonged to Jay as a kid. But this one, you guys, this is an old Smith Corona that I found in a Goodwill for $6. And it was just the cutest typewriter, and I just think it is the cutest thing in my craft room. So absolutely love it. It still works just fine. So if I wanted to do a little journaling in an actual old typewriter print, that would be available. This is one of those old typing stands that I just spray painted many moons ago, and I usually will put pictures on it or something that I want to display, like a card. And then these are old stamps that I picked up, and I have several more of these from a surplus store at my daughter's old college, Indiana University. And so they had these old stamps that they were selling for next to nothing, and I just thought they were cool. And I have several more of those, so I just keep those because I like them. And then here, Kelly, we've talked about old trays and using the acrylic sheets in the bottom of old trays. So that's what I've done with this. This is one of those old office trays. I probably purchased it at the same college surplus store. This is one of those old-fashioned office file trays. And I've just got a piece of scrapbooking paper in the bottom of it to match my room, and then I just put a sheet of acrylic over the top. And I know we've talked about these a lot, but any tray that I have with sides on it, I will do this with. And it just gives you a nice surface, and I use these trays all the time. I did want to also mention this. This is a Longaberger basket that it belonged to my mom. I've had it for a long time. But in this, I do keep my leftover die cut pieces and punched pieces. So like if I'm making a project, it seems like I always make extras. Like these are leaves and foliage. Let's see. These are some rectangles of different sizes, and it seems like I always end up with extras that I don't use. Or sometimes I will intentionally cut a few extra, and instead of throwing those out, I just keep them. And a few years ago, I started storing them like this, where I just organize them by what they are. And I put them in these little bags, and these are the Avery L storage bags, and they're the large size. We did link them on our calendar for today. And I put a piece of paper, this is just cardstock, cut to fit inside each bag, and that way I can utilize both sides, and everything stays a little more tidy. And then I just printed out a label for the top of each one, and I just keep them in this basket. And when I'm making a card or working on a page, I just will refer to this basket first before cutting more. So I try to use up what I have, and sometimes just as a challenge to myself, I might say, okay, I'm going to use up everything in this bag, and I'll just say I'm going to make some cards and use all of these pieces up. And that's a fun challenge as well. So that way I can clear it out and then add more, have space for more. So this is one thing that you can do if you're not already doing it. And I would say it's been very helpful to me. I've got all kinds of different categories: circles, flowers, squares, stars, hearts, tabs. Words are very helpful because, you know, words can be a little bit harder to die cut, so I just keep all my extra words, and those are ready to go if I need to make a card. So that's definitely an idea for you. I added a little label to this particular basket. I just did this on the computer, die cut it with 2 different sizes, and then used one of our little Tim Holtz clips just to clip it to the side. So I just like to label a few things. Not that I necessarily need to label it, but I have that labeled, and it just adds a little customization, I think. Let me stop again, Kelly, and make sure that we take care of any questions. And again, we have all...
Okay, everybody seriously loves this, Janet.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear it.
And are enjoying the video immensely.
Yay.
They love the extra die cut storage that you used in the large Avery L bags.
Excellent.
And then there is a question about how you store your stamps and dies, and I think you're going to cover that.
Yeah, we will. And I'm going to give you a spoiler. Those same Avery L bags are going to come into play for those.
Oh, they're coming back.
They're coming back.
But Janet, also, I just want to tell you how happy everyone is to see you today.
Oh.
There's lots of comments
You guys,
about how good it is to see Janet.
you guys, thank you so much. It has been a big move for us, and not without some tears, but we absolutely love being close to our daughter and her husband, and it just brings me so much joy. You can't even imagine how happy we are about that. So it's been a total joy being close to her. Like this past weekend, Kelly, I went over and helped her clean out her gardening supplies, and it's just like a little mundane thing, but it was just so much fun because that's the kind of thing that I haven't had the opportunity to do in the past. Just spend those afternoons with her, doing kind of ordinary things. So it's been a total joy for me. So I'm super thankful to Kelly and technology too for enabling us to do this, because how cool is it that I can still be with Memory Bound and be coming to you remote in a snowstorm. So it's great. So yeah, I'm super happy to.
Janet, we need to tell people that we're not doing this because of the snowstorm. This was planned, and it's just fate that we happen to be having a blizzard in Iowa. I think that's crazy.
Isn't it? It worked out perfectly, Kelly. You know what? I have to say I'm feeling a little melancholy to be missing out on the snow. I think snow is so beautiful. I was actually born in a blizzard, so I am a person who has always loved looking at snow. I don't love driving in it, or don't love being out in the cold, but I felt a little bit sad to be missing out on the blizzard, because I think the blizzards are a great time to do crafting. Get your cup of coffee or your tea and your kitty and just craft up a storm, literally. So we are missing all of that. My husband is not in the least sad about that because he was the one who had to do the snow blowing. So let's come over here and talk about this unit, which is by far the biggest thing in the room. Let me start up at the top. I have to point this out. Maggie's sister is so talented. She is an artist who does wood carving and painting, and she makes decorative pieces. And when I did my craft room in Iowa, I asked her to make me 2 owls, because I love owls, and she made these out of driftwood. And I asked her to make them so they looked like they were sisters, but not exactly the same, 2 different sizes. And I absolutely love these. And they're just made out of old boards. So I think they're so cute. So this was the first thing I set on here when we got to Texas. So those are really cute. Maggie's sister's name is Laura, and she is super talented. It obviously runs in the family. Up here I have some, I would say, overflow storage from things that I don't maybe use quite as often. So I do have a bunch of older woodblock stamps that honestly I don't know if I will keep. They're just stamps that I'm not quite ready to let go of, so I put them up here. I don't really need them that much, and I'll assess down the road if I want to keep them. Up here I've got like some extra storage supplies. I mentioned loving those Avery L stamp and die storage bags. I've got extra ones here. I've got the extra Tim Holtz jars that I use. I'll show you those in a little bit. I also love the Lawn Fawn magnets, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So all of these extra storage things, I wanted to keep them somewhere, but not in the midst of my prime real estate. So I just put them up here in this bin. And these are bins. These two bins are, I think, bins that I got at the dollar store years ago. I had them in my old craft room. These two bins came from like Hobby Lobby years ago, and they were not in my craft room, but we didn't need them in this house in the way I'd used them before. So I decided to commandeer them from my craft room. And I've got my card bases. This is overflow card bases that I want to keep, but I don't need them like right underfoot all the time. So I've got my overflow card bases here, overflow envelopes here. Because you know, if you're a card maker, you don't want to run out of those things. So I keep a big stash of those. So let's take a look at the rest of the unit. And what I did for this is I decided that I wanted to put things in the top row that were maybe not as pretty, maybe not as decorative, that I just didn't want to have kind of cluttering up the space. So things that I have in here are my overflow adhesive. So like my extra, extra liquid glue, pixie spray, that kind of thing. Things that I don't use every day, but I want to be able to get to them. Some of my refills for my favorite dry adhesives. This shelf, or this cupboard, includes my embellishments, and I will spend a little bit of time on this. Not all of my embellishments, but some of my embellishments I store by color. And this is a system that I had in my old space, and I kept it because I loved it. In my old space, I had a cube system, but it was a cube system from Target, and the cubes were maybe about 9 inches tall. So I had to shop around to find pieces, small storage pieces that would fit inside those cubes. And this is what I had bought for that system. And I've had them for years. I've had my embellishments stored by color for years, and I just decided to keep them. But because they really don't color coordinate with my color scheme, I decided to just put them behind a door. So what I have here is, these came from, I want to say, Office Depot, and they are called Really Useful Boxes. And what's nice about them is they come in a lot of different sizes, and then they have handles that snap, and they do stack really well. So again, I got them at Office Depot. It's not specifically a crafting thing, but I have like all of my pink and red supplies or embellishments down in here, and I've got some things organized in little boxes. These are primarily like flowers. I've got some old metal alphabets. Some of you probably remember those. Anything that's pink or red is in this box, and anything that's yellow or orange is in this box. So for instance, I would throw in any of the Doodlebug things that are of that color scheme. And what's nice about this is oftentimes when I'm working on a scrapbook layout, for instance, I might think, gosh, I need something yellow, but I don't necessarily care what it is. So I can just go to my yellow box and I see, oh gosh, I could choose this, these flowers, or, you know, this little ducky. It doesn't necessarily matter what it is, but I just really need that particular color. So by storing your embellishments by color, I think it helps you use them more. So at least that's been true for me. And I set up the system years ago, and I have loved it. So I kept it the same for when we moved here. So I also have, let's see, gosh, this is an oldie but goodie, and Kelly probably remembers these. Back in the day, we used to carry these little organizers for brads and eyelets, and I love them. I just think they're so cute. So I have kept this too through the years. So like my little black brads are here. So I've got my more neutral ones in this, and I've got another one with more colors. So again, if I like the system and it was working for me, then I have kept it. Here, this is one of those 3-drawer Sterilite bins, and I actually spray painted this. I think it was white to begin with. It might have been black, and I spray painted it green back when I was setting up my craft room in Iowa. And I have one drawer for my bling and one drawer for my chipboard shapes and that kind of thing. But one of the things that I always do, and this is crazy, I don't want to see stuff through the drawer. So, and this is kind of insane, but I always cut like a little piece of black to kind of cover that up. And that way, when my drawers are in place, it's a nice clean look. I'm not seeing a bunch of things through the drawer. And I know that probably seems kind of crazy, but that's just sort of how I am. So this, again, this is for my embellishments. And I was really happy that everything fit nicely in there. I'm not going to take the time to put it all back now. This particular one, I do want to spend a little bit more time on. And Kelly, I showed you this earlier.
Hey, Janet.
Yes.
I showed you this earlier. Before you show that, there's a question about the size of those bins that you have your embellishments in.
Sure. I happen to have like 15 rulers right here, Kelly. Hey, Kelly, could you turn down your sound, please? We're getting a little bit of feedback. Let's see. These bins are 5.
Sorry about that.
Oh.
I unmuted my phone, so you were getting everything.
No problem. They are 5.5 inches long by about 4 inches wide. And let's see, they are about 3 inches tall. And I will tell you, they come in a ton of different sizes. In fact, here's another one that's kind of long and skinny. And what's great about these is they have like a little ledge on the top, and they do stack very nicely, and they don't fall apart when they're stacked. So again, I got these at Office Depot, so nothing that's specifically related to crafting. And the reason I bought them is because they were the only things I could find that fit in my old cubes. And since I had spent they're not cheap boxes, unfortunately. Since I had spent some money on them, I thought, you know, I'm just going to keep them. So basically, my idea when moving here was if my system is working and it's enabling me to find stuff when I need it, then I'm going to keep it if I can. If it wasn't working for me, then it was ripe for overhaul. So let's go on to this, this cube, because I have spent some time on this one. This is where I have my ephemera and my stickers. And first, let me say, in my old system, I had my stickers in an 8.5 by 11 binder, and a lot of them, if you know stickers, a lot of them are taller than 8.5 by 11. They stick out of the binder. It kind of drove me crazy. And so I pared down my stickers, and I decided to keep all of my alphabet stickers in these plastic sleeves. And we have I think we've had those linked on the calendar for today. These come in packets of 3, and they have a little tab at the top. I happened to cut the tab off so they would fit in my door just a little bit better. But what I did was I went through all of my alphabets, and I pared down to the ones I wanted to keep, and the rest of them I gave to somebody in the neighborhood. And I just put a piece of white cardstock in the sleeve to divide up the space. And what's great about this is then you can have something on the back and something on the front, and everything stays nice and tidy. So I have these kind of grouped by color. So this is the red and the pink. I don't use a ton of these, but these are the ones that I wanted to keep. These are green. And again, I had these in an 8.5 by 11 binder, and a lot of them were too tall and stuck out of the top of the binder, and that just wasn't working for me. And because the binder was really cumbersome, I found that I wasn't really using them very much. And these are older. I want to use them up, and they're good. They're totally fine. They would work great for cards or for scrapbooks. I want to get them used up. But I found that my old system was encumbering. No, what's the word, Jay? It was cumbersome. It was cumbersome, and I wasn't using them as much as I could. So I have just had this going for a few weeks now, and I am finding that I have been using them a lot more. And I've got them again in color order. So these are my stickers, and they fit nicely in here with the tabs cut off. And then, let's see, a couple more things to show you guys up here. This is another one of those really useful boxes that we talked about before, but this is a larger one. And I'm not using it with the lid, I'm just using it as a place to keep my smaller alphabets. So I had all of these alphabets that were a little bit smaller that I've had forever. They're October Afternoon, which was my favorite company, and I wanted to keep them. And so they are actually cut in half, some of them, and they fit nicely in here. And then these are the photo boxes that we carry, the 4x6 photo boxes. And these are smaller alphabet sheets that I have organized in these, and those keep everything nice and tidy. So since doing this, I've found that I've had many occasions to use alphabet stickers that I kind of had forgotten I had. So if you have a supply that you're not using, it might be because your storage system is getting in the way. So look at a different way of organizing things, and you might get more of it used up. So also in the old craft room, I had my stickers in a 3-ring binder, but I don't use a lot of stickers, like decorative stickers. So I decided I would combine them with my ephemera. So many of us have been talking about ephemera storage, and raise your hand if you do not sew. That would be me. I do not sew, and a lot of our ephemera storage systems that we've been looking at involve sewing a pocket. Since I don't sew, don't even have a sewing machine, I thought, well, I'm going to come up with an idea that would work for those of us who don't sew. So this is an older 8.5 by 11 We Are album that I picked up at a garage sale, and you can see it's damaged, but it's perfect for this kind of application. And I just filled it with the kind of baseball sleeve pockets that we carry. These are by We Are Memory Keepers. And I have organized my ephemera in each pocket, and there's no sewing involved, which I love. And to make everything nice and tidy, what I did was I cut a piece of white cardstock to fit in each pocket, and then that way I can use both the front and the back sides of the pockets. So you guys might recognize these as from Simple Stories. These are the Color Vibe flowers, and I've just sorted them by color because I know that I tend to look for things by color. So I just sorted all the brown flowers together, all the green ones together, and so forth, so that if I'm looking for something of that color, I can go directly to it. So I kept all of those together, and then these are some of the Tim Holtz ephemera, which if you've tried to store ephemera, you know it gets a little bit challenging because of all the different sizes. Let me ask Kelly if there are any questions about this so far. I know we've got a little bit of a delay. So if anybody has any questions, just holler.
Janet, I think everybody loves that ephemera storage, including me. And I did link the inside pages, the 8.5 by 11. What did you call those? Baseball card size?
I did, and I don't know if they're baseball card size at all, but that's kind of how I remember them. They have space for 9 pictures or 9 somethings on each side. And I have used these in my school albums. They also are just the right size for like those school pictures. Like if you have pictures of your friends from your school years, I've included a few of those in my albums. So I went through all of my ephemera, which I had actually stored in several different places, and I just wasn't using it. And I kind of grouped it by color, and so far I've used quite a bit of it. So as I've used it up, I've got some extra capacity in this album. You can see some of it is really old, and I wanted to make sure that I used it. Like this is something really old that I have kept for a particular page that I haven't yet scrapbooked of my daughter's childhood. So I wanted to keep this so that I remember to use it when it's time to scrapbook that. And the same for these. Do you guys remember when we had these paper dolls? Kelly, you'll have to say what they're called. But my daughter made all of these, and these are going on various scrapbook pages that I have yet to come to in my chronological scrapbooking. So I just put them on here so that I remember that I've got them. So, and then back here, I've got Tim Holtz Christmas ephemera. And I don't know about you guys, but I have a lot of Christmas stuff. So these pockets work great for the little cut-aparts that we created at the store and for the Tim Holtz ephemera. So if you are not a sewing person, I would encourage you to try this. One question that I had was, will things kind of fall out of the pockets? And I haven't had too much trouble with it. Sometimes I go like this, just tap it, and then everything falls down in there pretty nicely.
Somebody said paperkins.
Paperkins, yes, that's it. That's what these little guys are called. Thank you. Yeah, paperkins. So my daughter assembled those, and I want to put them on her pages when I get to them. So we also carry. I think that's all I wanted to show in this particular album. I do have some plain full-size sleeves that I made just simple pockets with strips of cardstock and put my larger ephemera pieces in. So that works great for that. But I think this is going to be something that's going to work for me. So again, I just happened to have this album that I picked up at a garage sale. It's kind of damaged. I wouldn't use it for my actual pages, but it works great for this. So that is how I store my ephemera, and I wanted to be sure and mention that. Not a whole lot to see here. These are paper crafting ideas that I have kept over the years.
Hey, Janet?
Yes. Yeah, Kelly?
There are just a couple questions, and one of them has to do with your ephemera. Julie wants to know if you sort it by subject.
It's kind of sorted by subject. I would say this is probably a work in progress. Julie, it's a great question, and I kind of struggle with it. I have the Christmas stuff together, but I do not have it completely sorted by subject. I do have like all the labels together. These are all the numbers together. These are all the tickets together. I did do that. But beyond that, for my everyday kinds of ephemera, it's maybe not completely sorted by subject, or maybe it is. I don't know. I've got some of it by color and some of it by type. I think the key is what system enables you to find things the easiest, because what works for me might not work for everybody else. So I hope that answered the question, Julie. All right, we're going to go on here, and again,
yes, and there was one more question that I don't want to forget.
Oh, sure.
There was a question about your lighting, if you have anything special for lighting, and I did post my little favorite portable daylight lamp that I have, but what have you got for lighting, Janet?
You know, I will say, Kelly, and I'm really glad to get that question, one of the challenges in this room has been lighting. And I'm going to have Jay back up and he can see. We've got an overhead light in this room that we did. We beefed up the light bulbs so that they're, I think, what are they called, Jay? The daylight light bulbs?
3,000 Kelvin.
3,000 Kelvin, whatever that means. That
Color
sounds impressive.
temperature.
So,
It's written on the side of the bulb in fine print.
Can you say that again, Jay?
It's written on the side of the bulb in fine print or on the box.
Okay.
And anything 3,000 or brighter is more natural. But if you get into the 5,000s, it almost takes on that blue surgical light look, which is kind of fake.
Okay.
So 3,200, 3,000, those are good natural visual spectrums that tend to resemble what you would see where you might look at scrapbooks.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Jay.
But it's not like true daylight.
One of the challenges in this room is it's pretty dark. And you might think it would be very light because it's open to the downstairs and all of that, but our house in general is pretty dark, just because of how it's situated directionally. And we have other houses on either side of us that block the light. And I think that is going to be one of the challenges that I face in this room. So Kelly, I might have to get one or two of those lights that, like you have, the little desk sets that add a lot of task lighting. So I have 3 other lamps in the room that are certainly helping a lot. But one thing that I have struggled with in this room a little bit is shadows, and you're probably noticing some shadows even this morning during the video. So that's one thing that I will be looking at going forward. So anything else, Kelly, before we go on?
I think that's great.
All righty. So up here, this again, nothing attractive about this. This is just my tools, my brayer, my heat tool, my glue gun, you know, kind of those things that you need to keep, but I didn't really want to display them because I really don't use them that often. I'm thinking about putting like little command hooks on the side here that I could hang some stuff. So it would be a little bit less cluttered because I don't love how that looks right now, but at least it's a place to put the stuff, and then I can close the door. So the second shelf I wanted to dedicate to my paper storage, and I wanted to put this in a place that would be easy to access. I felt like this shelf up here was too heavy to be pulling stuff down all the time. So this shelf felt just right. So when it was time to organize my paper, I wanted to continue storing it in the vertical storage containers, and I have used these for years, but my old ones were just about a ½ an inch too tall for these cubes, and they were kind of ratty anyway. They'd been used so much. So I purchased the new ones from Memory Bound, and these are by Storage Studio, I believe, and they are very roomy. You can see I need to get some more cardstock. I don't have a ton of it right now, colors, but I purchased both the vertical sleeve and then also these divider tabs, and I just have my cardstock in one, and it's just organized by color in rainbow color order. And then I have a second one for my neutral cardstock. And I use far more neutral than colored cardstock these days, so I keep a lot more of that on hand. And then I have 2 for pattern paper. And again, I store my pattern paper by color. So I have a section for red pattern paper, anything with red in it, pink pattern paper, orange pattern paper, and so forth. And again, I got these through Memory Bound. They are the vertical paper storage by Paper Studio. And then you can also purchase the little tabs to go in it. So I had to purchase a few sets of the tabs so that I would have enough to divide up my paper the way I wanted it. So right now I have just 2 for cardstock and 2 for pattern paper. And then this was all new that I had to figure out when I moved here. Previously, I had my themed paper collections in the 12 by 12 iris boxes, but I don't really have a good place to store those, so I moved them into vertical storage. So these are themed collections that I've had for a while and wanted to keep. Like this is my Texas paper. This is some old paper I've kept for a particular layout I need to make. This is my husband's bourbon paper. So I've got these stored in their sleeves by theme, so I can access them really easily. And then if there are any particular collections that have embellishments that go with them, like for instance, this is the simple vintage berry fields that we all loved from a couple years ago. I just keep the embellishments right there in the sleeve with the paper. So everything stays together, and that way I remember to use it together. So like the ephemera, I would not put that in the ephemera binder. I would just leave it with the paper that it goes with. So over here I have more paper. Many moons ago, we carried these 6x6 paper organizers, and they are no longer available. I sure wish they were, because they're super handy for 6x6 paper, and I happen to have one, and I'm never going to give it up. So I have that for my 6x6 paper. And this is an old thing that we carried at the store many moons ago too. It's like a little divided tray. And I don't know really what the intention is, but when I was setting up my craft room, I decided to put like my journaling cards and my tags in it. So I kind of grouped my tags by what they are or type, and hooked them with a book ring. And so I've got tags really accessible. Whereas in my previous system, they were kind of tucked away and I would often forget to use them. So now I've kind of got them out front. And Kelly, I know that we're running a little late. Are we doing okay time-wise?
I don't think anybody wants you to stop, Janet.
Okay, all righty. Well, we're going to keep going then. I want to talk about my paper scrap storage. This is a system that I've used for years, and I did not want to change it. I store my paper scraps and cardstock scraps in these drawers, organized by color. And in our old house, I had 4 of these. I had 2 that were dedicated to cardstock and 2 that were dedicated to pattern paper scraps. But in this system, I have less space, and I sure didn't want to devote 4 cubes to paper scraps. That just didn't seem to make any sense. But I thought, well, I can maybe combine them. So I ended up combining my cardstock and pattern paper scraps into these 2 stackable trays. So in this, for instance, I've got all my orange and yellow pattern paper and cardstock. It's all together. It kind of freaks me out just a little bit, but I'm going with it because this is really all the storage space that I could afford to dedicate to it. But this is a system I have used for years and absolutely love it. What's great about it is I can just pull it out. I can dig through it. I can just put everything back in there when I'm done. And it will accommodate a scrap that's up to 8.5 by 11 inches in size. Anything bigger than that, I would put in my vertical paper storage. So that is how I'm storing my scraps. And again, I've done it for years. I love that system. So let's talk about this next row then. One of the things that I wanted to do with this cube unit is incorporate some shelves. And so at IKEA, you can purchase these shelf inserts. So they just slide in and out of your shelf. There's no hardware involved. You just push it in, and then it enables you to have 2 shelves instead of 1 open cube. And so I devoted these 2 cubes to my card making supplies, and it has taken a little bit of reconfiguring and kind of figuring it out to see how it's going to work, but I think it's going to be great. This is my card basket that I keep with all of my pre-made cards, and they're organized by subject, and this is a basket I've had for years. And we can talk about all of these things in more detail maybe on another time. But I've just got all of my pre-made cards that I've created and are ready to send stored right here. Here are pens in a galvanized tin. And I do want to mention this, because this was kind of a new setup for me. These acrylic containers came from Target, and they measure 12 inches long by 4 inches deep by 6 inches across. And what's great about them is you can fit 2 of them in a cube, side by side. And they work perfectly for storing card bases, like our pre-made card bases, and your envelopes as well. So I just decided to put like a stash of envelopes and card bases on the ready in this unit, so that I would have them more accessible. And like I said before, I've got my overflow card bases and envelopes up there, but I've got plenty out for what I need to do. And I put a piece of paper, decorative paper, down in the front of this to kind of give it a little more color, and so it would coordinate with my color scheme. So that sits down here. Over here, and again, this is kind of a new system for me too. I had both of these set up in our previous house, but I didn't have it quite organized like this. I do have a few card fronts that I have cut up, just kind of generic card fronts that I've cut up, and embossed pieces that I want to use up that I have just in a little basket. And this is something that I can always reach for if I'm making cards. And this is something that might interest you guys. Again, those Avery L bags have come into such good use for me. I keep all of my text pieces for card making in little pouches like this. And they're organized by whatever the card would be for. And I've got the insides and the outsides. And some of these you probably would think look a little familiar, because I do love making inserts for my cards. And I make a lot of them for kits, but I also make a lot for myself as well. So I tend to keep them. If I'm printing inserts for a birthday card or a thank you card, I will print more than one. And they're not all cards that are inserts that I've made myself. I have some other ones in there too. But it's really nice to have them organized by theme, and then when you need something, you can just go to your envelope and find what you need, and you don't have to worry about necessarily stamping or printing something out. So again, these are kind of like the extra things that I would need for card making. And you can see that these Target bins, they stack beautifully. So this one down here, I still haven't figured out how I'm using, but in this case, this is a shelf that I placed horizontally, and here I placed it vertically because I needed more height, but I still wanted the division of the shelf. And I do want to share this, but before I jump into this, Kelly, let me ask if there are any questions. We might have to do a part 2, Kelly.
Janet, there's a couple questions.
Yes.
They are wondering the temperature in Texas.
The temperature in Texas is 30 degrees right now, and this is in the Dallas area. And we're headed toward a high of 47
it's
today.
It's only 30?
Yep, and we're headed toward a high of 47. Let me tell you what, yesterday it was 66, and I was out for a walk in my sandals. So I have only had a few days where I haven't been able to wear my sandals.
Wow.
But this weekend it's going to be cold, where it's going to get down to about 11. So, which is very chilly.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah. But
the other question is, somebody wants to know, well, I'll tell you the couple of questions here and then you can answer them.
Sure.
Somebody's asking where you got the wire basket that you showed just a little bit ago, and where you get those drawers that you have your scraps stored in.
Yep.
And I guess there's one more question.
Sure.
Are you tempted to store things by manufacturer so it's by style?
I do store a lot of things by manufacturer. Like if I purchase a collection kit, I will store everything that goes with that collection kit together. But beyond that, I don't store by manufacturer because I tend to mix and match. Good questions. These are just regular stackable trays that you can purchase at probably Target or Walmart or any of those kinds of places where you can buy storage containers. Nothing special at all. I forgot to mention that I also put black in the front of my my drawers so that you can't see all that messy stuff in the inside. That's one thing that I do to kind of give it a cleaner look. And then the third question was about this little basket. I have 2 of these, and I bought them at some antique store somewhere along the trail. So nothing I would know where to direct you to, but they're really cute, and they actually would hang on the wall. But I've not done that before. So right now I'm using it in here. I'm not sure I will keep it in there, but we'll see how it goes. Great questions. Kelly, maybe what we should do is go over this, and then do you want to regroup on another day and continue, or should we just keep going?
Well, I think we could do a part 2. I think that would be wonderful to have you back again, Janet.
Okay. Well, let me finish up this this particular thing, and then we were probably at a good stopping point. Okay. This is another thing that I think would be really helpful for folks who like to make cards. This is something that I have done for a while, but since we moved to Texas, I put it in this particular container. And again, this is one of those containers from Target. And basically what this is a box of little card kits for myself. So I, again, used the Avery L bags, and I put a piece of cardstock inside. And on each side of these are a few odds and ends that would make cards. So I don't remember, this paper set was from last year or the year before. And I used it for something, but I didn't finish it up. And I've thought, oh golly, I could make more Valentines out of this. So I just cut it up and I put the matching paper with it. I had a couple other odds and ends that I thought, oh, these would be cute with it too. And I just tuck it right down in here. So when it's time to make Valentines, and I guess that time would be now, right? I could pull this out and I could make several Valentines. And on the back, I've got some other Valentine paper from another set that I, again, just kept together. And that way, when it's time to make some cards, I've got everything on the ready that I need. And so I have them by collection, or whatever the set was. And again, if I've used it for something else, I just keep what's left. This is some of the cat and dog paper that we had, I think last year. It just kind of went crazy at the store. And I know I have some paper that goes with that, so I just made a note here as to where I've stored the paper. But here I've got everything, the ephemera and the paper. So this is ready to make into cards. Some of this is old, and I'm just going to keep working it until I make all the cards that I can with this. And
shadows.
Got a few extra things. These are for some fall cards and whatnot. So I've got a whole bin of these, and they are ready to go. And then this side over here is for Christmas paper. And so these are all going to be turned into Christmas cards at some point. And I love using up my scraps. So I have them stored by, like this, I used this set a couple of years ago for my Christmas cards. This is what was left over. And I'll just keep working this until I'm kind of tired of it. And what's great is was able to fit 2 side by side. And then any of the 6x6 or 6x8 papers, they just fit beautifully at the back here. So I've got everything that I need for card making right here. So what's great is then I don't have to get out all of my 12x12 paper and other stuff. I've got it all kind of pre-organized in kits for myself. So this is a system, again, I've used forever. I just didn't have it in a cube. And so when we moved here, I needed to figure out a different way to store these little packets, and the Target bins work perfectly for that. So that kind of finishes up how I store my card making supplies. And what we can do, Kelly, if you would like, is we can come back another time and we will address how I store my stamps and my dies. And then, Jay, I have to give you a preview. This is, come over here, Jay, my Nouveau drops and my embossing stuff and all of the other goodies that I have in these drawers. And I want to show you everything that I have in these drawers and these bins down here, because there's a lot of fun stuff and I am absolutely loving the drawers. But I think that is a subject for another day. So Kelly, let me ask if there are any questions before we sign off.
Okay, there is one question about your computer and printer. Do you have another room for that, or is that in your craft room?
It is. It's right in my craft room. It is a very important part of how I craft, and we'll come over here and look at that. I have a big screen because I love to see things big. And when I do the linking in the morning, I have this set up, and then I also have an iPad set up. So I use both of those screens. And then I also have a wide format printer, which is an Epson, and it's called Expression Photo HD. And the number is XP 15,000. Oh, okay. XP 15,000 is the number. This is a wide format printer, so it will print on 12x12 paper, and it will also print photos beautifully. So I do occasionally print photos on a 8.5 by 11 sheet of photo paper, and then I just cut them apart. But I mainly use it for printing on cardstock that I use in my card making and in my scrapbooking. So when I do my blog post about this video, I will be sure and include the link to this. This is a good printer. I had it for maybe 2 or 3 years now.
Do they still make it?
Yeah, they do still make it, I believe, or something very similar. So yeah, this is my computer setup, and what was great about this room is it already had the desk set up and with plenty of room for my computer and my printer. And eventually I'll put some artwork up here so it looks a little more cozy. Anything else, Kelly?
Well, Janet, I think it's pretty cool that we all got to see the Texas linker area. It's where all the linking happens.
This is where it all happens.
On our morning videos.
Yeah.
And thank you, Jay, for all your help today. That was really nice of you to videotape for us. I'm sure your hand or your arm is getting tired.
I was going to flip the camera around, but he is declining. But we do appreciate Jay's help today. Yeah, Kelly, we'll figure out another time to come back and do a part 2 of this because there's just a lot to show, and I'm eager to share it with you guys.
Well, and Janet, thank you so very much for bringing us into your home. That is going way above and beyond the Call of Duty, and we appreciate that. I wanted to mention that I know you've inspired a lot of people, and we have a lot of the items Janet showed you on order. If we do sell out, I just placed another order during this video because Angie told me I better get more of those paper holders, so I did. Thank you, Angie. But I think if we get organized, we can definitely organize more in 2024 and craft more in 2024. And we definitely are bringing Janet back. And Janet, there was a question about you making card kits.
Yes.
And she's working on projects right now, you guys.
I am. I set it aside for today because you should have seen this craft room yesterday, Kelly. It was totally, looked like a tornado came through here because I'm working on a kit. So I am not a tidy crafter, but I do like to pick up when I'm done. So yeah, it'll be coming soon. It's a sympathy card kit, which we all need. Unfortunately, good cards to have on hand. I know I'm delighted that we could do this morning. It worked out great because we are having this snowstorm in Iowa, so I'm happy to do this. And we'll come back. We'll figure out a date for part 2, and we'll get that scheduled.
Sounds perfect.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Well, thanks for joining us,
everyone
guys.
Stay safe and warm, and we'll keep you posted on our opening and closings.
All right. Thanks, and have a crafty day.